And let me offer you a very warm welcome here to the Barony Hall this afternoon, a wonderful occasion where we will convert these wonderful graduands sitting before me in the hall and those that are sitting behind us, a great array of Strathclyde talent. We are here, of course, to celebrate our students' fantastic achievements, and a very warm welcome in particular to the families, friends and supporters to this great day. The Barony Hall is a jewel in the crown of the university's estate. We do much here. The most important thing we do, of course, is graduate all of the Strathclyde students. Each year we graduate about 4,500 Strathclyders that come up here, are capped, and then move on to their careers and into society. A veritable army of talent. Strathclyde is going to change the world, make an impact in whatever path that they choose. And of course, today we're celebrating the work of our Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, in particular in the Department of Government and Public Policy and Social Work and Social Policy, two very important dimensions of what we do in the round at Strathclyde. Graduates, when you come up here, as you queue to come onto the stage, you'll be given your hood, you'll come across the stage, and I will cap you gently, given all the wonderful hairstyles that are on show today, at which point we'll have conferred the degree upon you. Then you'll take your parchment and go back to your seats. And this piece of furniture that sits before me, this is how we used to do it. I have knelt on this 3 times, for my bachelor's, my master's and my PhD. Those were the days when you knelt before the Vice-Chancellor or the Chancellor. It would be a bit more egalitarian than that these days, so I'd much rather look you in the eye, or at least on my tiptoes, try to look you in the eye, cap you and let you go. So when you come along here, know that you're following the footsteps of many, many thousands of Strathclyde graduates before it. And to the family and friends, Strathclyde always seeks to do the formal rather informally. You're here to enjoy yourselves. It's a special day, so when your family member or your friend comes across the stage, of course we will all be applauding, but do let them know that you're here. Within reason, please. No fireworks, klaxons, or high fives, but please let them know that you're here. It'll add much to the occasion. But of course, these are great occasions, and occasionally we add even further value to the ceremony, and we're doing that just this afternoon because we like to celebrate the achievement of outstanding individuals, those that have served the public sector, in private sector, business or industry, or indeed academia. And today it's my great privilege and pleasure to be introducing shortly introducing you to the Lord Provost of Glasgow, Councillor Jacqueline McLaren, who is an absolute titan in terms of her service and contribution to this fantastic city, about whom you'll hear much more from our University Secretary, Dr. Stuart Fancy. And we'll start the occasion with that, then we'll have our graduations, and then I'll take some time just to give you an update on what's going on at your university, the University of Strathclyde. So with that, I'll declare this congregation formally open, and we'll start by welcoming Councillor McLaren to stand and receive her honorary degree. Thank you very much indeed.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I have the privilege and honour to present to you the Right Honourable the Lord Provost, Councillor Jacqueline McLaren. Councillor McLaren is a leader whose commitment to our city and its people has been distinguished by compassion, service and vision. Jacqueline McLaren has served as Lord Provost since 2022, following her election to Glasgow City Council in 2017 as the representative for the Canal Ward, importantly, the area in which she grew up. Throughout her career on the Council, she has demonstrated a deep and enduring commitment to the welfare of her constituents, advocating tirelessly for community initiatives, regeneration projects, and the support of the most vulnerable in our society. Her experience as a councillor has given her a keen understanding of the social realities faced by many Glaswegians, an understanding she articulated with striking clarity and compassion in an article I recommend to you, which she wrote for the Glasgow Times in 2021. But how did a modest lady from Maryhill become a councillor? How did Jacqueline take the steps from her early career with Boots the Chemist, here in Glasgow and in London, developing her broad musical tastes behind the counter at Virgin Records in Union Street, how did she take those steps necessary to get to the City Chambers in George Square? Our honorary graduande's path to becoming a councillor, and now Lord Provost, began in 2015, when she rolled up her sleeves and, to her own surprise, led the Save the School Buses campaign. Now, this was a campaign to successfully persuade Glasgow City Council that a decision they had made in pursuit of budget savings would lead to a discriminatory impact on some of Glasgow's poorest neighbourhoods. Gathering 4,000 signatures on a petition, leading marches and speaking for those who desperately needed somebody to speak for them, she helped the council to choose a better path. So that vigorous campaign that Councillor McLaren led in 2015, when she accidentally found herself leading a cause, reminds us that true leadership demands both insight and action in confronting inequality. In her role as Lord Provost, Glasgow's first citizen, civic head and Lord Lieutenant, she has represented the city with distinction, promoting its global reputation and strengthening international partnerships, including through her honorary co-presidency of the Scotland-Malawi Partnership. Councillor McLaren has fostered civic pride among the city's young people, inspiring engagement with Glasgow's history and its future through innovative cultural initiatives, not least in celebration of Glasgow's 850th anniversary. Councillor McLaren's interest and attention on employment, housing, environmental stewardship, community well-being demonstrates the broad vision that she has for Glasgow's prosperity and its resilience. The University of Strathclyde has enjoyed a strong and enduring relationship with the city's leadership, and Councillor McLaren has been a supportive and valued friend, attending significant university events, most recently the Young Strathclyder graduation in this very hall, and affirming the deep ties between our institution and the city that we proudly call home. The University was delighted this month when the Lord Provost presented our own principal, Professor Sir Jim MacDonald, with the Loving Cup, one of the city's highest awards, in recognition of his contribution to the city. And in Councillor McLaren's own words that evening, she reflected on our long history of shared ambition and shared achievement. The University and the Lord Provost share a deep commitment to creating opportunity for the people of this city and to fighting against all forms of discrimination. The support that the Lord Provost has given and is giving to initiatives working to stop gender-based violence here and in other cities around the world strike a particular chord with this university, where we work hard for the same cause. Today we recognise Jacqueline McLaren not only for her distinguished public service, her leadership grounded in compassion, vision and an unwavering commitment to community, but also for her embodiment of the socially progressive values that we seek to instil in our graduates. It is with great pleasure, therefore, Principal, that with the authority of Senate, I present to you for the award of Doctor of the University, the Right Honourable the Lord Provost, Councillor Jacqueline McLaren.
Lord Provost, it's with great pleasure that we give you this award today, and I create you Doctor of the University, honoris causa. Many congratulations and welcome to the Strathclyde family.
Thank you, Dr. Fancy, for your kind words, and to Strathclyde University for honouring me. What a privilege it is to be here with you all today, and a huge congratulations to everybody graduating. Naturally, I am excited and thrilled to join you. It's all true. I'm just an ordinary woman from Maryhill who, in my youth, worked at Boots the Chemist and Virgin Records. I'm free for any makeup tips. or introductions to some cool music you haven't discovered yet, just let me know. Seriously though, it gave me a great grounding in recognising the value of honest toil and the importance of showing up, smiling, and trying your very best every single day. It's a work ethic that served me well. I value my humble beginnings almost as much as this great city, the city of Glasgow, where I'm proud to have been born and grown up. A city I'm happy to call home and honoured to serve as first citizen. I recognise that I, an ordinary Maryhill woman, afforded extraordinary opportunities, and that was not by design. I worked hard and was open to them. I never purposely sought them or chased them. It's, if you like, the universe unexpectedly presented them to me. To the graduates here today, my philosophy for life, love, and all the other big, important questions is simple. Don't give up and don't dwell on mistakes. When times are tough, putting one foot in front of the other and simply carrying on is enough. It's all any of us can do. In challenging times, it's important to let go of aspects of life that don't serve you well. It's true, it can be scary. It takes courage. However, in hindsight, it could turn out to be your salvation. The best scary thing you ever did. Because life does not stay the same, and managing change, how we choose to adapt to it and build self-resilience, comes with experience and trust in our own instincts. Always listen to your inner voice. There will often be people unwilling to love you or work with you. That's life. But it's imperative that you move on and embrace every moment with courage. Don't dwell on the past. Seize the future, however uncertain it may seem. Forget the naysayers, because when it comes down to it, it's what you think that matters. There is no such word as can't. Choose to seek joy wherever you can. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't define you. We can all achieve extraordinary things. Work hard, be kind, open-minded, and let the stars align. Learn from your peers. Be motivated by your role models and surround yourself with positive, encouraging, and inspiring people. I often say to the young people I meet in Glasgow, if you can see it, you can be it. Little did I think that the Save the School Buses Glasgow campaign would change my life so dramatically and lead beyond my personal, political and civic journey. Some of you here today will be part of something wonderful or discover something extraordinary that humanity will benefit from. Joining the ranks of the finest men and women who have positively changed our world, how we live and how we view it forever. Like many of Strathclyde's very own alumni, like scientist Andrew Ure, the inspiration for Frankenstein, John Logie Baird, inventor of television, to current-day role models such as businessman Sir Tom Hunter and Dame Elisha Angelini, Scotland's first female Lord Advocate and current Lord High Commissioner, and not forgetting your esteemed institution's principal, Sir Jim MacDonald. The University of Strathclyde really is a place of useful learning, fulfilling its founder John Anderson's vision, helping Glasgow to flourish. I cannot express how truly touched and honoured I am to receive this honorary degree from the University of Strathclyde, and I do hope that everyone has a wonderful day celebrating with family and friends. Thank you.
My Lord and Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, in the name of the University and by authority of the Senate, I present to you, if I can go off script for a moment, these extraordinary students. First up, in the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for Research in Politics, Yakavos Makropoulos. Salma Mashur. Scott McFadden. For Research in Social Policy, Alistair Brown. For the degree of Master of Science in Data Science for Politics and Policy Making, Beatrice Upani Onumdu. Sorry. In Public Policy, Ajoke Christina Akatande, sorry. In Criminology and Social Policy, Zultan Zab Mohammed Ahmed Alasai. Chloe Mowat. Lauren Quinn. For the degree of Master of Social Work, Shawnee Boyd. Shannon Rogers. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Humanities and Social Sciences, Nabaz Ahmad Aziz. Callum Alexander Cranston. In Politics and International Relations, Buster Atticus Adams. Sarah Mai Atkinson. Scott Bruce. Isadora May Campling. Dominic Crossar. Daisy Lou Dale. Abby Hodge. Isla Hines. Hannah Johnston. Fiona Kennedy. Katie Ann Little. Ross Alexander McCulloch. Josh Malloy. Robin Monroe. Nema Caitlin Provan. Victoria Louise Radcliffe. James Reagan. Sophie Sinclair. Adam Mark John Smith. Yi Tan. Beatrix Junger Russell. Maya Wilson. In politics and international relations and economics, J. Carnes McFadden. Charles Milne. Naomi Cantrell Washington. In politics and international relations and history, Claudia Emma Roger. Sofia Slodanovic. Maya Beth Wilson. In politics and international relations and journalism, media, and communications, Haley Burns. Jenny Elizabeth Cook. Elsavet Googly. Meenakshi Joshi. In politics and international relations and law, Rachel Hantala. Mohammed Shahir Javed. Nadine Lindsay. Illy McLean. Sophie Erin Monroe McHugh. Delorum Alorbi Oloku. In politics and international relations and law with international study, Michael Carlos Alba. Rebecca Patton. In politics and international relations and psychology, Louise Kelly. In politics and international relations and social policy, Dion Hosek. Maisie Sonny McGregor. Jody McLean. Emily Frances Mulholland. Kyle Craig Ralston. Reagan Wallace Siebert. In Politics and International Relations and Social Policy with International Study, Maxwell Woods. In Politics and International Relations in Spanish, Kenzie Hutchinson. In Politics and International Relations in Spanish with International Study, Holly Marie McCloy. Imogene Louise McIntosh Naylor. In Politics and International Relations with Education, Liam Ben Riley. In Politics and International Relations with History, Mark MacDonald. In Politics and International Relations with International Study, Melanie Kate Marceau Bartlett. Maisie Beatrix Blair. Fraser Anthony Brown. Gregor Burnett. Tate Ian Jude Cathro. Jennifer Clark. Heather Crawford. Marcus Hanlon. Isabella Jean Shepard. Ewan Strathdy Willie. In Politics and International Relations with Journalism, Media, and Communications, Matthew Borey. Ian Hamilton. Nathan Laurie. Michael McBriar. Douglas Owler. Rowan Laura Poon Crowther. In Politics and International Relations with Law, Amber Rogers. In Politics and International Relations with Psychology, Anna Ross. In Politics and International Relations with Social Policy, Neve May Cloughlin. Mahri Ann Gunn. Scott Frank McLaughlin. Amy Royer. Ellis Soley. In Human Resource Management and Social Policy, Nusiba Mohammed. In Social Policy and Education, Mariette Flynn. In Social Policy and English, Julia Duffy. In social policy and history, Isla Valerie Bayali. Amy Diane McKenzie. Matthew McCormack. Katie McGeechee. Holly Elizabeth McManus. Owen Ritalik. In social policy and human resource management, Lauren Jane Muirhead. In social policy and journalism, media, and communication, Iona Sarah Kelly. Matthew James Meechin. Abigail Isabella Milne. In social policy and law, Carla Dian. Karen May Sparrow. In social policy and politics and international relations, Millie Codling. Carrie Beth Conway. Ariane Greasley. Megan Marie Hutchinson. Natalie Marie Michi. Adam Rendell Miller. Abby Helen Scott. Emma Elizabeth Smart. Rachel Patricia Smith. In social policy and politics and international relations with international study, Meg Sarah Fiddes. In social policy and psychology, Eleanor Craig. Katie Filson. Emily McBride. In education and social services, Aisha Ahmed. Afsa Ali. Joanna Bateman. Lee Borland. Jenny Kate Klemp. Malika Dar. Donna Ferguson. Kathleen Gallagher. Caitlin Gill. Rebecca Lily Gould. Reem Hussein. Yasmin Ijaz. Erosh Khurshid. Ellie Marie King. Rachel Madden. Ashley McAdam. Sophie McCumbee. Jenna McDade. Kaylee McLaughlin. Jude McNemee. Kimberly Amber Moore. Nikora Faustina Adu. Sarah Nelson. Sophie O'Meara. Christina Opanimi. Rebecca Mary Lewis Prentice. Marinat Solodin. Holly Scally. Nicola Stephen. Stuart Malcolm George Wallace. Carolina Zarzeka. In social work, Emma Ann Alexandra. Erin Ellingham. Liana Bell. Lucy Elizabeth Mary Blackie. Lynn Louise Margaret Boehm. Marianne Brosnam. Amy Irene Kelly Pauline Carlin. Stuart Campbell Chapman. Ellie Ann Court. Nancy Donaldson. Princess Aquilor. Chloe Maureen Gillen. Jenna Henry. Madison Grace Hughes. Shona Keys. Christy Ann McCloney. Kira Rachel MacArthur. Haley Beth Mack. Danielle Ann Gilladay Isabella McCourt. Rona Elizabeth McIntyre. Olivia Grace Mitchell. James Patterson. Anne Marie Pearson. Elsa Christian Phillip. Victoria Ross. Poppy Sesame Galt. Stephen Liam Thompson. Lee West. Iona Patricia Wilson. Laura Wilson. Stella Ikabudu. Stella Budu. Congratulations. Congratulations, everyone.
My goodness, what a bumper crop of Strathclyders. Let's give the class of 2025 a big round of applause. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, and now to our Strathclyde Graduates Tour. Let me reiterate a very warm welcome to this fantastic ceremony, a day that none of you will forget, because it now marks the successful conclusion of your degree studies and all of the hard work that you've put in. And you've graduated in front of your proud families, your friends, your supporters, and clearly very friendly classmates too. Today, we welcome visitors from across Scotland, throughout the UK, and of course from a wonderful international community too. We're delighted to see each and every one of you here to join in our celebrations. And as you complete your time here at Strathclyde now, you'll leave today, but hopefully we'll see more of you as you traverse your careers. Please remember that you are graduating from a university and an institution where freedom of thought is valued and encouraged. We're a place that seeks to be both tolerant and inclusive, and where people of diverse national, cultural and social backgrounds come together for a great education and a shared student experience. Because here at Strathclyde, we all benefit from having staff and students from over 130 different countries, because ours is a socially progressive community, and certainly we seek to deliver that. One that seeks to be an exemplar for modern society, because we are truly proud of being plural, multicultural, and, wherever possible, enlightened too. It's our responsibility, and I would suggest, Strathclyde graduates, even more so, it's now your responsibility to continue to challenge unacceptable practices, arguably and particularly to those in power, by using reason and by exemplifying the very best features of a diverse and inclusive society. We can't ignore the fact that we're facing the horror of war and conflict right across the globe, which means that all of you should please try to act in your journey towards being the next generation of enlightened leaders. The illegal war that Russia is still waging in Ukraine, the humanitarian disaster that we're witnessing on a nightly basis in Gaza, and the danger of escalating hostilities between Iran and Israel now with America deeply involved. Of course, that means we're all facing more risk and uncertainty, but please never underestimate the opportunity that you have for personal impact. It can all seem impossible and overwhelming, but remember the democratic influence that you can bring to bear on our policymakers, and do that with confidence and with integrity. Nonetheless, but most importantly for today, we're here to acknowledge your hard work, the learning that you've built up, and the successful completion now of your degree courses, because this is a Strathclyde passport to your making a full contribution in your career and to society, in spite of the flux and uncertainty that we're currently facing. You'll recall that a few short years ago, Glasgow presented itself to the world, and the world came to Glasgow in COP26, the summit of world leaders which came together to agree measures to minimise global warming and climate change. I had the pleasure during that conference of having meetings with colleagues such as Michael Bloomberg and John Kerry, who at that time was the special envoy from America on climate. But in particular, we had the great privilege of welcoming former US President Barack Obama here onto our campus. A great day indeed. It didn't come for a short time, he came for the afternoon. And he came to speak to young people like you, activists, people with ideals, people with vision and energy, to talk about the critical role that your generation will have in playing out the attack on climate change, the problems that my generation have given you in effect. Now, given the security requirements, Mr. Obama arrived here rather secretly. But through the powers of social media, that secret didn't keep for too long. And whilst he was here for a few hours on his departure, and as he made his way down the steps of the Learning and Teaching building, he turned on his heels before he went into his vehicle, and there had been several hundred admirers had gathered to say goodbye to him. They turned round and said a very important thing to those that were there, and it was this: get active. And let me encourage you all now, Strathclyders, get active. Active in your careers, whatever you might choose to do, and please seek to make a difference in your personal lives and your careers. You really can have an impact. Be bold, take your courage in both hands, and go ahead and apply yourselves. You heard from the Lord Provost, that magic essence of hard work goes a long way. You're smart, you're accomplished, you have your degrees, you've got your ambitions. But remember, as I quote a fellow electrical engineer, Thomas Edison, genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. That's true for an engineer. Probably those ratios are much better for people in humanities and social sciences. But go ahead and work hard. I was brought up in this wonderful city, now celebrating its 850th anniversary, just on the other side of the Clyde, in a sunny hamlet called Govan. And that town's motto is Nihil sine labore, or nothing without hard work. And I try to embrace that ethos every day when I come into this fantastic institution. And I would recommend that you also take on that challenge, that opportunity and that approach in your future careers. Because now you've become Strathclyde alumni, and you're the latest of the university's torchbearers, following in the footsteps of several generations of Strathclyders that have gone before you. And with all that you've now come through successfully, I'm sure you'd agree that you couldn't have achieved that without the backing, support and encouragement of the community of supporters that are around you, and particularly those in the hall today. It's fitting, of course, that we acknowledge their part in the successful completion of your university studies. Our graduates and the university community at large owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. And as the first in my own family to have gone to university, as it happens here at Strathclyde, I know the importance of such support. So, graduates and to the staff on the stage today, let's give a big thanks to the family and friends in the hall. And for our outstanding academics and support staff too, this is genuinely a very important day for them, because ultimately your success is their reward, because they've been working hard to provide you with high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So, graduates, people in the hall, let's join me in saying a big thanks to these excellent academics. And as you complete your journey today, remember as you leave the hall, please take with you the knowledge that your university was founded in 1796. We're 229 years old, although I still like to drive this place like a 200-year-old startup organisation, retaining that same sense of purpose, ambition, drive and entrepreneurship, just as in the time of our establishment. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles. We were established, and I quote, in the language of the time, for the benefit of all mankind. And we were the only higher education institution to be established during the Scottish Enlightenment. Indeed, we are the 8th oldest higher education institution in the UK. Carry that with you as well today. And we continue, of course, to drive our university strategy in that same exciting spirit as the Enlightenment, challenging, connected to society, proud of our roots here in Glasgow, but with our eye on the horizon with our international impacts. Our founder, John Anderson, who was a physicist or a natural philosopher, as he would have been called then, and not a bad engineer too, had strong links with Benjamin Franklin, the polymath and American inventor. Franklin was involved in establishing the University of Pennsylvania in 1751 with its motto, useful knowledge. And he and John Anderson were correspondents, and indeed they were friends. When Franklin came to Scotland, it was our founder that took him in a horse and carriage around the country, to St Andrews, to Aberdeen and beyond. And he was inspired by Franklin's vision with the power and the excitement of the Enlightenment. And Anderson had in his will the requirement to have a place for useful learning established in the city. And never has that philosophy been so relevant since their establishment over 200 years ago. Please take that with you as well. Useful learning is what we stand for. It should be known by all of us as we are presented and are recognised as a leading international technological university that's socially progressive, the first of UK technological universities to be established in 1964 when we transitioned from Anderson's institution to the Royal College of Science and Technology to the university that we know now as Strathclyde. And for example, across our campus and in the buildings that you'll have passed on your way to the Barony today, our academics, our research and our students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight diseases. For example, we have several drugs on clinical trials in the areas of cancer diagnostics and treatment, kidney disease, infection management and inflammatory diseases. Strathclyders are producing energy technologies and policy solutions, including with our colleagues in the Government and Public Policy Department, to tackle climate change and to create a low-carbon economy. We're revolutionising global manufacturing, something that had been given up in Scotland about 50 years ago, but we're making things again, as well as the service industry and all that goes around us. We're manufacturing things, putting Scotland back on the map through what we call the fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0, through robotics, AI, process automation. And it's your faculty that's been guiding me through to the application of humanities and social sciences through these critical transitions for society, the impact of AI. What does the move towards net zero actually mean? How do we create a just transition where we bring people, for example, of this city onto that journey to create good jobs, to make them sustainable and healthy too? Our students are, of course, working in the developing nations as well, establishing clean water supplies and power supplies, deploying healthcare systems in remote communities, and introducing new telecommunications infrastructure. They're working in Southeast Asia, bringing prosthetic limb and biomedical engineering technologies to those in need. But most importantly, and those of you in the hall today and some of my academics that are with me, developing policy solutions on the national and international stage, working in education, health, energy, innovation, and so much more. Our staff in the Technology and Innovation Centre, which is down in George Street, that was a trigger moment for Strathclyde 10 years ago when the late Queen, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip came and spent the day with us to find out what we were doing in energy and photonics and pharmaceuticals, what we were doing in policy and economics. And that well-known inventor that I've already mentioned, Thomas Edison, he called his technical teams and his laboratories his inventions factory. Well, let me tell you, tech in Strathclyde has become Scotland and the UK's innovations factory, making a difference, putting about £2 billion of gross value add back into the Scottish economy. And we've further reinforced our leadership, having established the country's first innovation district right here in the heart of the city, the Glasgow City Innovation District, working with the Glasgow City Council, Scottish Enterprise, Innovate UK, and many others, working now on medtech, fintech, quantum technology, AI, and advanced communications, and indeed space technology. And who knew that outside California, Glasgow has the biggest small satellite manufacturing capability in the world? But 130 companies, many of them led and driven by Strathclyders, employing our fantastic graduates, including from this faculty. And people invest in us. Just about 3 years ago, one of our alumni, Dr. Charles Wang, donated £50 million to the university, the largest donation in Scottish higher education history. Now, Charles did his MBA and a PhD here, and I suspect you have never heard of him. But you've had the benefit of his entrepreneurship, because when we're all becoming amateur biochemists in our kitchen during COVID, when we had our lateral flow tests, you were using Charles Wang's technology. And he brought that step into society, fueled by Strathclyde innovation and the experience that he had here to try and make our lives all the more bearable under difficult circumstances. And through his donation, we're now creating the Charles Wang Advanced Technology and Innovation Centre in John Street, as it happens in our old Student Union building. That was always an energetic place, let me tell you. It's going to be energetic for entrepreneurs and investors. And we're now creating an International Business Institute in the business school. So this is what we mean by useful learning. We're trying to fuel the city, fuel the Scottish economy by providing business and industry with the tools and the talent, all of you, that they need to be more innovative, more productive, and promote economic growth, creating jobs and making sure that we impact positively on the quality of life that is both sustainable and healthy. But most importantly, and hopefully you've had this message, you've certainly heard it from the Lord Provost, we try to provide people with the opportunity to transform their lives and the lives of their families. As I mentioned, we still attract many first-generation people into university here at Strathclyde. And these are some of the reasons why we've had a sequence of external recognition of not just what we do, but how we do it. Annually, there's it's called the Sectoral Oscars. It's the Times Higher Education Awards. And Strathclyde remains the only university to have won the UK University of the Year twice. We've been named the university's Entrepreneurial University of the Year, Sunday Times Scottish University of the Year. Just last year, the Scottish University of the Year and runner-up to Imperial College is the UK University of the Year in the Daily Mail inaugural table. And just last week, we noted we were the largest riser in the QS World Rankings. This places us comfortably in the world's top quartile for research and education. Of course, recognising the great work of my academics, but our students and our impact in partnership. So please know that Strathclyde seeks to make a disproportionate impact on society and the economy. With all of this technology and all these investments, that's wonderful. But let me tell you, graduates, it's all of you. It's you that we're graduating today. You are our most impactful contributions to society. It's your energy, your ambitions, the application of your professionalism as you enter into your careers. That's where Strathclyde makes its biggest contributions. And here in Scotland, you could only have noticed that the higher education sector is facing some headwinds, to use a euphemism, but Strathclyde still drives ahead with its strategy. The Scottish Government invests about £1.2 billion into higher education, but in return, we give them back over £12 billion of gross value add. So the sector is not a cost to society, it's an investment, and we need to bear that in mind. And certainly, the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences in these two departments in particular give me great optimism for what we're continuing to do. And I won't list all of their achievements, I'll be here all day, but for example, in government and public policy, under Professor Scotto's leadership, they have helped attract a major endowment into humanities and government and public policy. A former Strathclyde Vice Principal's family left us £1 million, which we are deeply grateful for. This generous bequest came from Charlotte Lyth, former Dean of Arts and Social Sciences at the University of Dundee, and she was the daughter of Professor Edgar Lyth, who was one of our deputy principals, and through that we're investing in 2 professorial chairs, the Charlotte Lyth Chair in Humanities and the Edgar Lyth Chair in History, with other Chancellor's Fellowships, and in government and public policy we're making further investments too. And in social work and social policy, we have a new research programme exploring the impact of Scotland's justice system on public health, with extensive input from the most affected communities. And we're leading a £1 million study aiming to improve the health of disadvantaged communities, which will examine how health, crime, criminalisation and victimisation intersect. So this is a place of useful learning where the research that we do touches people's lives and in a very significant way. So this and so much more. Please see these achievements as the exciting context within which you are having your awards today. You're graduates of a university that place our students at the heart of everything that we do. We value excellence in education and research, and we create strong connections, not just with business and industry, but with society, not least in this city. And with regard to internationalisation, the very best institutions contribute, collaborate, and compete on the international stage, and we are no different. I've been doing more travelling for the past 6 months than is good for me, and I've visited many of our international strategic partners. So, for example, we have deep collaborations with Stanford, MIT, and New York University. A few weeks ago, accompanied by my Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences, Ian Rivers, we were in China visiting Peking and Tsinghua universities, the #1 and #2, alongside the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. And in spite of the continuing grating of Brexit, the soft power of universities have continued to connect Scotland to the rest of Europe through transfer of ideas, people, joint collaborative programmes, and it's heartening to see a degree of thawing between the UK and Europe. We share a vision in terms of the European project. And we've also created a Middle East campus in Bahrain, which rather preoccupied me 10 days ago when the missiles started to be shared between Iran and Israel, where my first duty was to take care of my staff and students, which we did effectively, bringing some of them home, but making sure those that were still in the country were adhering to the safety requirements of the government there. But of course, all of you have either consciously or unconsciously been having the benefit of working with an international community, because you're emerging now with the skills necessary for yourselves, for Scotland, and wherever you might pursue your careers, because you've had the value of the richness and the depth of different cultures and traditions. Always bear that in mind, because you're leaving here also with a degree, but with your obligations as global citizens. And I'll conclude by mentioning again socially progressive activities. We're very proud of being a Glaswegian institution, albeit well connected in the international stage. And amongst the research-intensive universities in Scotland, we take the highest number of youngsters from the most challenged communities, communities that I'm proud to belong to. A rather pejorative term called the Scottish Index of Multiple Deprivation. And Scotland has more than its fair share, and Glasgow has its own challenges. But every year we take about 1,300 youngsters from those backgrounds in here. And we do that because we go on the journey with them through primary and secondary school. We get them in, keep them in, educate them and launch them. And we also dismiss the notion if we're doing that, we must be watering down our standards. Not a bit of it. So with all of that, we still have the 5th joint highest average entrance qualifications, not in Scotland, but in the UK. So all of those of you that are graduating today, you had to work hard to get in here, and we're proud to have you here. And just about 5 weeks ago, my first graduation of the season, and you heard it referred to earlier on, is the Young Strathclyder graduation. We were delighted to have the Lord Provost attend one of those graduations. We had about 500 5 to 12-year-olds. Let me tell you, if you could bottle that energy, you'd have a new form of renewable energy. They were here with their gowns and their mortar boards arrayed before us, and as they came along the stage, some of them skipping, some of them running. It's murder trying to cap a 12-year-old when they're going at 20 miles an hour. But they came here with their mothers, their fathers, their aunties, their grannies, their teachers, because as I spoke to them, of course I made the youngsters feel welcome, but I was speaking to the mothers and fathers. This place is for them. Most of them never having crossed the threshold of a university, but now they understand that with application, with ambition and confidence, Strathclyde is happy to bring the children of Glasgow in particular in here to get them launched into their career. So, let me conclude by referring to your institution, Strathclyde in 2025. Well, we're distinctive. I think that's true. We have ambition, focus and momentum. Continue to work with the necessary agility and commitment, so necessary to trade the blows with what's going on around us, policy, economic and geopolitical tensions. It's a great privilege for me to lead this institution with the superb support I get from my executive team, these great academics, professional services and support staff. And I think I'm confident saying if John Anderson was in the hall today, I think he would see the fruits of his ambition to have established in Glasgow a place of useful learning. And that's what we seek to do every day. But to those in the hall today, those that are graduating, I am sure that the class of 2025 will be a vintage year. You've shown commitment, great application, and ultimately now you've been successful. And I hope, and by the sounds of it earlier on, I think you've had a bit of fun on that journey too, and well done to all of you. So with that in mind, remember, since our award of our charter in 1964, we've graduated almost 250,000 Strathclyders. So wherever you go, you're going to be bumping into alumni that share a similar experience. But remember, whatever you do with your degree, and wherever you decide to pursue your career, truly useful learning means that you should apply your knowledge for the benefit of others. Please try to make a positive impact for yourselves and the communities that you belong to. Don't leave them behind. Respect diversity, value freedom of expression and thought, and reach conclusions and resolve disputes through reason and tolerance. Those represent the core values of your institution. So, we're here to mark your achievements, your fantastic achievements, and well done in having your degrees awarded today. On behalf of the university, I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations to each and every one of you. Please stay in touch with us as you get into your careers and go into greater things. And please have a great time and enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you very much. The digital communications has been given. The thumbs up means it's sunny outside, which means we're going to conclude the ceremony just in a moment. We will, if you'll allow us, the stage party will come down the aisle. Graduates, please join us. Friends, family, join us. We're going to go to the Learning and Teaching building for a reception. There'll be drinks and canapes and a chance to catch up and talk to you all. I hope you have enjoyed this ceremony as much as we have. So let us conclude by again giving these graduates a big round of applause. And let me declare this congregation closed and ask you to be upstanding. Thank you very much.